I would have looked at it that way if Shannon left of his own volition. I'm telling you he didn't. I'm telling you he was pushed out.
What's up with it? We back with another one, and today we're reacting to Stephen A. Smith saying Shannon Sharpe was outed by FS1 and Skip Bayless. It's DjThaGateway. Let's talk about it. Stephen A. Smith was recently on an episode of the Joe Budden podcast, and he was speaking about Shannon Sharpe joining ESPN and First Take and why it was important for him to let everyone know that he wanted Shannon Sharpe to join ESPN.
But the second that Shannon became available, and I like that you did this, by the way.
Right.
I like that you hey, right. I make no qualm, I would like him over here. I like that for the business. But for the Skip stuff, I was like, oh no, that's a jab. That hurts. You're gonna go after the co-host so soon. You didn't care.
I didn't look at it that way.
Got it.
I would have looked at it that way if Shannon left of his own volition. I'm telling you he didn't. I'm telling you he was pushed out.
That's the first time I've ever heard that.
Well, I'm telling you, and it's fact. Now they can deny it. He wouldn't. I can promise you that. He was pushed out. He didn't want to leave. He was notified that your services would no longer be needed. But again, that's his story to tell.
Course.
But I'm telling you what I know. I'm giving you facts. And so when I saw that, it wasn't just that I know the brother's talented. It wasn't just that I know he's a 3-time Super Bowl champion and an NFL Hall of Famer. It wasn't just that I knew that he had been doing television the last 6 years. I saw me from the standpoint of I was let go in 2009 and left for dead. And they were writing my epitaph, and they were like, Stephen A's career's over. He blew it. He had the opportunity of a lifetime. He effed it up and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, there was nobody in the present day Stephen A. Smith position as the guy in sports media, as the executive producer for the #1 sports morning show that could speak up for me at that time. And I said, this is why I'm here. It's my responsibility. So, you know, it's nothing new. When you look at Swagoo, Marcus Spears, and you see his new contract, when you see Ryan Clark and all the things that he's doing, when you see a Kimberly Martin that was an NFL reporter and now she's on television, when you see a Monica McNutt and all this stuff, like, you know what? I'm at a point in time where if I don't want you on First Take, you ain't coming on First Take.
That's it.
And if I don't want you on First Take and you ain't coming on First Take, the likelihood is that you're going to have a problem getting on television because that's the #1 morning show. And if Stephen A ain't feeling you for that show, why should we feel you for X, Y, and Z show? It's just a chain reaction. It's not that I have any sway over those other shows, but it's just a natural chain reaction.
Right here, Stephen A. Smith is letting you know the type of power he has and the type of leverage that he has created for himself in this industry because of the numbers he has put up for ESPN, a very big platform, for so long. He let you know all the time that he is #1 and has been #1 for a very long time. And he just letting you know here how much power he has to continue a career or to end one. Let's continue.
And so I knew the position that I was in, whether he came to First Take or not, it was important that I let the world know he still wanted. Because when they let me go, I was on the verge of being blackballed. Yo, I couldn't even get a job at BET or TV1. Me. It went from me making $1.3 million, having, quite frankly, from 2005 to 2007, to being on NBA Countdown during that same period and doing ESPN radio, to waking up one day and from 4 jobs to 0. I was unemployed for damn near 10 months. In 2010, nobody would hire me. I could barely get an interview. And when something like that happens, obviously the belief is you're being blackballed. Okay? Do I have proof of that? No. My proof was the fact that no one would interview me.
And nobody's touching me.
Nobody's touching me. And so, you know, when that happened, I remembered that feeling. And I remembered how people might have spoken up and say, we love Stephen A, blah, blah. But when I was unemployed, I didn't hear a positive word about me. I didn't hear anybody going front and center and saying, we want Stephen A. I saw none of that.
It was quiet.
And so what I wanted to do was, it's a different day. And I'm not going to leave this brother out there hanging. Now, I'm not willing to bring him on a show and sacrifice Ryan Clark, Sacrifice, Swagoo, Marcus Spears, even Mad Dog Russo, the Dan Orlovskis, the Mina Kimes, or Kimberly Martins, or anybody else, Kendrick Perkins, or anybody else. I'm not willing to sacrifice that. But if this brother's willing to come on board and be a part of that mix and a part of that family, welcome to the family. I went to the honchos. I said, I want them. They said, Steven, you know, we saw X, Y, and Z, got into an argument on the air. I said, don't worry about that. I said, he dealing with folks over there. Here, he would be dealing with me. I'm telling you, I got him.
Basically, what he's saying is he was dealing with white Skip Bayless. Over here, he'll be dealing with me. We know how to communicate with each other in a different way. It's a different understanding. He'll be doing good with me. Let's finish this off here.
Let him come. And they were like, all right.
That cosign is very
all right.
important.
And that's what happened.
And even if he didn't come on your team, the fact that you gave him a welcome mat, he would have got picked up somewhere else.
Exactly. And that's exactly what my intent was.
Gotcha.
That's my responsibility. And that's why you'll see me. You see, listen, y'all got a podcast. You see, other cats in the industry. Club Shay Shay, that's Shannon Sharpe's podcast. You see Ryan Clark and the Piffy. You see a whole bunch of stuff. What do you see me doing on the show, promoting it? Now, why would I do that? I got my own podcast. I'm doing my own thing because I don't want anybody to fail. I want us all to win. And I'm going to make sure that when people look at me, they know that I ain't just some black man. I'm a brother. And I'm going to look out as best as I possibly can. That's how I roll. It's not going to always be the most popular thing. I'm not going to always make friends that I'm doing it. It's not to say I'm not going to piss people off because they might disagree or whatever the case may be. But when you look at me and you look at my soul, at the end of the day, I'll put myself up next to anybody because I know where my heart lies.
Talk.
I've seen Stephen A. Smith do a lot of podcasts, and this was one of his best appearances. I think personally because Joe Budden and Stephen A. Smith are like two of my biggest inspirations. I look at these guys for tools to become a better content creator myself. Joe Budden asks the right questions. Joe Budden knows how to ask tough questions, but make them lighthearted to where you feel kind of open to talk about these things. And Stephen A. Smith really showed a different side of himself. I think people already resonate with Stephen A. Smith, but there's a lot of things people have said against him, like he does coonish things. I don't think so, but people have said this about Stephen A. Smith. I think this run of doing other podcasts plus his, he gets to really show who he is even more. Like I said, this guy is one of my biggest inspirations for doing content, Joe Budden. I think this was great. I think Stephen A. Smith also came on here to brag a little bit and let everybody know what position he holds in this industry. And this was great. I'm glad he let it be known why it was so important for him to let everyone know that Shannon Sharpe was still a value member. This was very interesting to hear. I wonder what Shannon Sharpe does have to say about this, because if we all watched him and Skip Bayless at the end of their deal together, you can very much see it on screen, kind of like when Max Kellerman and Stephen A. Smith was ending their run together on First Take. It was very visible on screen. But to hear the FS1 and Skip Bayless tried to out him from the business, and to hear that Stephen A. Smith said, no, with my power, I'm going to let it be known, just like we did with Michael Irvin. So Stephen A. Smith is right. Like, he is making it very clear that he is trying to help as much as he can. As long as you're not actually doing the actual crime, he is willing to help. I think Joe Budden asked great questions. Let me know if y'all think Shannon Sharpe is going to say his side of things. Do you think Skip Bayless is going to respond to this? This is very good stuff right here. There's going to be at least another 2 weeks of content out of just this conversation he had with Joe Budden. But y'all let me know. We out. Thanks for watching the Gateway News. Make sure you subscribe for more content.